Elvis, and we'll also be catching up with Eileen a bit later on. We're having a quick chat. There's a few interesting discussions, and myself and Elvis were having a chat just before we came on. And it's just a few discussions about, people were saying it's multiculturalism, it isn't Islam. Other people are saying it's Islam, it's not multiculturalist. And I was kind of, for a long time, on the belief it's mainly all problems are to do with Islam. But then people were pointing out, what about Africa? A lot of those, African tribes and, killing all the white in Africa, and the farmers being killed on Islamic. What about all the crime gangs in Dublin? Are not all Muslim, or don't seem to be Muslim, and they are causing havoc. So you can't blame Islam on that. It's just a problem with multicultures from the third world countries, that they have completely different ways and different views, and they can't be mixed in. And then there's other people kind of going, well, what about Ireland? Didn't Ireland cause trouble in England? Didn't Ireland cause trouble in America? And doesn't everybody have the right to travel? And wouldn't the world be better if everybody just spoke one language and we all were the same? Wouldn't the world be a lot easier and safer and fairer for everybody? There's, a lot of discussions. And last night I had a discussion with my son, who's young enough, thankfully, not to have known anything about Ireland or the situation Ireland was in, or the war in Ireland or anything like that. It wouldn't have ever affected him. He wouldn't have seen anything of it other than in articles before he was born and stuff like that he would ask me about, but it was all something that never affected him. And he never went to an English-speaking school, as I explained to Elvis. And I was asking him, because he's never gone to an English-speaking, what was the difference between him and the Irish children who've only gone to English-speaking, which is the majority of Irish kids only go to English-speaking schools. And he says they're much more Eurofied. They actually think they're belonging to the EU, which they believe is Europe. They don't understand that Europe is a continent. And he says he would have a very different view from not going to English-speaking Irish schools. So welcome onto the show anyway, Elvis. So give us your opinion on the whole.
Thank you very much. Well, you see, to the certain level and degree, multiculturalism would say it depends. If it's close to your culture, it's fine. But if it's a massive difference, then I don't think it's going to cause a clash rather than merge. I'll give you a good example. Let's say the architecture of Europe is unique. It's possibly even gone all the way to Europe when Irish and British, they established America as we know. Yeah, so they took the architecture with them, which is fine. But let's say to the certain level, we learn from each other, which is good, and we develop on that. As I was saying, for example, majority of architecture, because I studied architecture and interior design. So why is that? It's the kind of mainly most of the architects, sort of develop their style on their travel to sort of other countries, but mainly Italy, you see. And as we know, the modern architecture as we know it now is rooted in a Greek and sort of architecture that is, started from Greece, then from Italy, then, sort of travel to here and there, and sort of most of the European, they share in it, including the art, paintings. You look at the paintings, all the same. Sort of almost style, but if it comes to other sorts of cultures and style, then it's good to know about them. But if you want to sort of join it to what you got, it might cause a massive clash, massive conflict. As we can see it, for example, the Middle Eastern culture, let's say, to the certain stage is fine. You go possibly to Moroccan restaurant or something, well, if you know, and sort of you might experience a different food, this and that, fine, okay. But as you can see, we cannot really join them to European culture because it's a 180 degrees difference, and it causing a lot of clash because mainly because their culture is rooted in their religion. So the religion dictate what they supposed to be doing and how they doing and how they behaving, which is sort of also is the foundation of their culture. As one of the Muslim friend of mine, he said, if you take the Islam from somebody, a Muslim, you're taking his culture away from him. So that is the point that Europeans should be aware of it, and it is a massive risk, which we can nowadays we can almost feel it, So yeah.
The other point I'd like to say, I was actually talking about this again to my son, because we have all these big kind of conversations. I was like saying, I suppose years ago, everything, regardless of colour or religion, everybody had to follow a line, and that was called civilization. But since the far left have got into politics so much in Europe, they're like, oh, well, who's to say our civilization is better, or who's to say what we call a civilization is civilized? And they've started questioning everything of the foundation of what kept Europe safe, because everybody, regardless of colour, religion, you followed this line. This was civilization. You must obey these rules. You must obey all these ways of life. So Islam, in particular, have been, questioning this. It's racist to, for us not to wear our hijab. It's racist for us not to have our meat killed in a certain way. It's racist for us not to, have segregation in a mosque. It's racist for this. So in a way, they've opened the door. So now Africans who come from a different, like a third world country, because Islam's been pushing all what we know and what we believe is civilization, pushing it further. Africans now can go, well, you're only saying that now because we're black. We can cause riots and, you can't do anything because we're black. And now it's like, because all of the boundaries are broken down, because the left have insisted that everything that we know and view as civilization is wrong because it was done by a white person. Where really they're getting it even wrong, because what they do is they try and twist everything. They say, Christianity is a white race religion. It's like Jesus wasn't even white. And Christianity doesn't even come from Europe. But they twist everything around. And civilization really came from Jesus Christ, because he was the one who actually showed us how to live. And until countries became Christian, that is where the civilization came. It was from Jesus Christ himself. Pagans, and although Ireland was a very strong pagan, it wasn't civilized. There was an awful lot of barbaric stuff that happened in all countries before Christianity came. And Christianity brought down the line of the law. And that is why when you go to court, you swear in the Bible, because that is where our civilization was, in the Bible, was Jesus Christ. And the New Testament, the life of Christ, not before. People go, well, what about the Old Testament and the life and I? That was the life before Christ, before Christianity. This is why Jesus was sent, to show us how to live. And that is where it's all from. And he wasn't white. So all this bullshit about bad white civilization, like we should look at the black, black or brown because they're much better. Jesus was actually brown. He was Jewish, and he wasn't from Europe. But every country that was Europe took on the Bible and took on Jesus' way, and that is why we were able to develop much faster and have technology, because we had civilization. Unfortunately, for the Middle East, Islam took over. And that is why they weren't able to develop, because the religion held them completely back into beyond even a time before Jesus Christ. And that is the big difference. And Africa is the same. Africa didn't develop either.
Yeah. Don't forget, majority of African countries been influenced by Islam anyway.
Yeah.
So
North
now you got,
Yeah.
yeah, no, north of Africa, even Central Africa, even yesterday I was talking to somebody on the customer service, and he was a South Africa, and the guy was a Muslim. You know,
What?
he's gone all the way to South Africa. He's gone all the way to almost any part of Africa. You look at even Kenya. Kenya got the large Somalian community and Muslims, yeah, as well. You know.
Yeah.
So he's gone. He's gone beyond the sort of.
And they had everything to do with white now in Africa, particularly South Africa. So all the African countries, as I was saying to my son again, another conversation, I was like saying, although like you can give out about the British Empire and you can give out about the British conquering and you can say an awful lot of bad things, but really majority of countries were much better under their rule. You had civilization, they were wealthier, they were prosperity, they were like growing. Wherein, since they've left, there's very few countries, whether we like it or not. You could probably say that about a lot of the British, because they were huge. British, the French, and the Dutch were the main ones who were conquering. But they did bring a lot of good things with them. I mean, you can say a lot of bad things that they did, but a lot of good things too, including for Ireland, whether we like it or not. There's a lot of good things that the British did and brought to Ireland. Now, a lot of the
imagine when they went to Hong Kong, what left behind as a Hong Kong, yeah. You can see is a total, as if you're going to a totally different country, you know. Although it's part of China, you know. I don't care people saying, "Oh, it's a different country." No, it's China. It's part of China, basically. You know, they not trying to separate it. Anyway, but yeah, this is the difference. This is a difference, as you can see. Look,
actually, it's funny that you talk about religion, as in, China, Japan. They actually have civilization, and funny they weren't Christian. Like that's the only place where I can think of where Christianity didn't really take hold, but they are actually quite civilized. They don't go on with the barbaric stuff that Africa or Middle Eastern countries go on with. Well, I suppose Buddhism is a beautiful religion. It is actually the only really peaceful religion.
It's not only Buddhism or Hinduism, you see, that, because it's a peaceful religion. It's a peaceful, I don't know if you know it as a religion or if you know it as a ideology or whatever it is, it's very peaceful. It was same as Iran. Asian Persia, basically. We had the Zoroastrian, and they are the most peaceful people you can possibly get. I had friends as Zoroastrians, fantastic people. Honestly, they are truly beautiful people. Because they're really,
completely wrong. Is it anywhere in the world now that religion practiced?
Yeah. Only Islam is the problem here. And I don't care what Muslim actually say. Muslim, they don't know their religion. Really, truly, they don't know their religion. They either trying to fight the fact that no, it is peaceful, or they trying to fool themselves that no, what you read is not what you read, is a sort of, because look, yesterday I was listening to this debate, and the Muslim, they were trying to actually say Muhammad killed his tribe because they were trying to wage war against him. No, it wasn't such a thing. When you read some other sort of extension to that hadith or surah, you can see that it was said that those people, that tribe, when they were killed, before they were killed by Muhammad's army, they were watering their kettles. And, I mean, how you can possibly say they were waging war? Listen, same story as, for example, Armenian. Yeah, they're saying, oh yeah, because they were. Hold on, Assyrians in northern Iraq, they were living in villages. They were living in the Kurdish villages when they were slaughtered by the ISIS. Same as Armenian when they were slaughtered, by 1.8 million by the Turks. You can go and search one. These people were normal, basic people. They were living in their villages, in their towns, and they had farms. They were farmers. And they were killed just because they were not Muslim or they didn't want to accept Islam. This is the fact and reality of it. It's been over 1400 years that we've been going through it. And, the problem is Muslims fighting this fact that no, you're reading it out of context, or you can't speak Arabic. Or even as I said to one of them, I said, okay, let's say I don't speak Arabic, yeah? I can't speak Arabic. So how about the 75% of the Muslim around the world, they don't speak Arabic? So how are you gonna tell them that you're really reading the Quran and you're understanding it as it should be? They don't speak Arabic. So how are you gonna tell me that they understand Arabic, the Quran? You understand
Again, thank you very much for listening on The Bonnery Show on ITV.ie and Irish News Radio. Again, thank you very much for listening on The Bonnery Show on ITV.
You are listening to Irish News Radio and irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.